Hey, what's up everyone? It's Justin here, and today I'm bringing you my top 5 travel apps in collaboration with TELUS. So I've got 5 apps here, and I try to travel a few times a year. Obviously with school and everything, I can't travel as much as I would like to, but here are some of the apps I found handy when I go on vacation, I guess. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So just to kick off the first episode, all of the apps featured in this video are free, and it is going to be more of a my experience episode and what I personally find useful when I travel. Starting out with the app that I like to book my trip with is Expedia, as it makes it very simple to book your hotel and flight, and from my previous experiences, it did offer the best prices to a given destination. I tend to like to fly cheap and book pretty last minute when I do go places. So Expedia not only finds me the best prices, but it also gives you an option to select the hotel for the same dates as well. So for those who like to book really last minute, Expedia makes booking your trip one less thing to worry about. One thing that I'm not personally fond of with Expedia though is the connections between flights are sometimes pretty tight, and there was a few times I nearly missed my flight. But other than that, I've used it for the past few trips to book my flight and hotel, and they also have really good and detailed reviews for hotels as well. You also have the option to book cars, activities, and transport, but I personally haven't used that before. The second app that I find myself using all the time when I'm traveling is Uber, as I don't have a car when I'm traveling, and I'm not old enough or eligible to rent a car anywhere yet, so I pretty much have to go by public transportation or taxi. With public transportation, if you're in a foreign place, it makes it very easy to get lost, and it tends to take longer as well. Taxis, on the other hand, if you're in a place like LA, are going to be very hard to call and can tend to cost more than you may have expected. Uber is not available where I live, as I live in a pretty small place in Canada, but when I went to LA twice in the last 6 months, I used Uber to get around everywhere, and I've had no problems with it whatsoever. While I was in LA, I tended to go from the airport to Santa Monica to downtown, and those seemed to be some pretty far trips. I'm sure a lot of you guys who are watching this from the US already know how Uber works, but I thought I'd just include it in this episode as I cannot stress how much easier it has made my vacations. The third app on this list is Yelp, as I love to eat, and when I travel, one of the things I kind of go to travel for is to try out new foods in new places. I'm someone who struggles to make decisions, so it often takes a very long time for me to decide where I want to go. But by using Yelp, you're able to look at other people's reviews and what they have recommended, as it is all in one place, and you can find the different types of cuisine you might like, the distance, the price bracket, etc. In the past, I have used Siri or Google to try to find places to eat, but I just find the reviews to be not as accurate as Yelp. So this is definitely something I use a lot as well. The next app I use is the XE currency. I do live in Canada, and the exchange rate right now is really bad. The economy is weak, and I tend to travel to the US. Like I mentioned, in the past 6 months, I've gone to LA twice, and I plan to also go to Chicago, New York, and possibly Orlando in the next few months. As someone who's always hunting for deals and really likes to buy stuff when I'm traveling, XE currency allows me to very quickly and easily take a look at the economic trend and calculate a given amount to my native currency. If you're on iOS, you can also have this as your notification widget, and normally when I'm home, I just use Google to check up on the currency exchange, but having an app like XE I found to be very reliable and accurate at the same time. So of all the currency converters out there, this is the one of my choice. App number 5 doesn't really fall into the category of travel, but it is one of the apps that I use the most when I'm on vacation. Obviously, I just got the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, so I don't have any photos imported to it, but I do have many on my iPhone. VSCO is by far one of the apps that I've fallen in love with lately, and I know it's been around for a while, but I just started using it and I'm absolutely a huge fan of it. It gives me flexibility to edit photos like never before, and in a very visually appealing interface, which is always really important to me. Of course, you can apply different filters, the theme packs, which I think I've purchased every one of, and through these settings, you can change basic things such as the exposure, the sharpness and clarity, which I often do tweak as these photos often go on Instagram. So I feel that it is a good way to compensate for the compression. But beyond that, you can also edit things like the saturation, your white balance, and just a whole bunch of things, which I often just play around with and see what looks best and compare it to the original image. So as someone who loves to travel while taking a lot of photos on the newest smartphone, and I'm sure a lot of you who travel take a lot of photos as well, VSCO is an app that I use when I'm killing time waiting for a meal or just sitting in an Uber to get to the next destination in order to make sure that Instagram photos on point. The last app is one that I'm sure everyone knows about, and it is pre-installed on your phone, but like I mentioned at the start of this video, this is going to be more of an opinionated video and showing you what apps I use when I travel. The future episodes will probably be featured on certain topics and the top 5 apps in a curated category. As I mentioned earlier in this video, I pretty much travel through 2 forms of transportation when I get to my given place, through Uber and by foot. As someone who is really bad with directions, even though I live in a very small city of a population of about 300,000 and get lost all the time, Google Maps is able to provide a timely estimate as to how long it would take for me to walk to a given place for a meeting, for example. It's what I use when I travel by foot, and I can pretty much just hop on the app, which is constantly updated as it is a Google app, and expect to get to the place in the estimated time given to me. But other than that, this pretty much wraps it up for my top 5 travel apps, and if you guys enjoyed this video and would like to see more parts in the series of this theme, be sure to hit that like button and leave a comment down below, and also check out Telus' post on their website of my top 5 travel apps. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.